The living Horus, divine of form, the two ladies, divine of birth, the king of Upper and Lower Egypt, Kakare, given life, the living god Horus, the living gold Horus, being the son of Ra's body, his beloved, the lord of the two lands, Cestrus, given life, stability, health, forever. Year 16, third month of winter. The king made his southern boundary at Hare. I've made my boundary, further south than my father's. I have added to what was bequeathed me. I am a king who speaks and acts. What my heart plans is done by my arm. One who attacks to conquer, who is swift to succeed, in whose heart a plan does not slumber, considerate to clients, steady in mercy, merciless to the foe who attacks him, one who attacks him who would attack, who stops when one stops, who replies to a matter as befits it. To stop when attacked is to make bold the foe's heart. Attack is valor, retreat is cowardice. A coward is he who is driven from his border, since the Nubian listens to the word of mouth. To answer him is to make him retreat. Attack him, he will turn his back, retreat. He will start attacking. They are not people one respects. They are wretches, craven hearted. My majesty has seen it. It is not an untruth. I have captured their women. I have carried off their subjects, went to their wells, killed their cattle, cut down their grain, set fire to it. As my father lives for me, I speak the truth. It is no boast that comes from my mouth. As for any son of mine who shall maintain this border which my majesty has made, he is my son, born to my majesty. The true son is he who champions his father, who guards the border of his begetter. But he who abandons it, who fails to fight for it, he is not my son. He was not born to me. Now my majesty has had an image made of my majesty at this border, which my majesty has made in order that you maintain it, in order that you fight for it. This is a promise written on the Semna stela by Senraset III, the great grandson of Senraset I and Amenemhotep I. This son was more brutal but more stable in creating the empire, and a lot of things started to flourish in his time. This would hopefully last as he wanted, but it didn't. The enemies of Nubia, yet again, were not afraid of Egypt. This is why they had to become more brutal. Asia as well was not standing still. And as you can see here, there's starting to be a general hate for the people, not just for the nations as they were previously. But how stable could it possibly be? Well, let's think about the technologies that returned and new technologies that came back or that were developed in this time. Pyramids were now in full swing again after 200 years of abandoning it before Sesostris time, Sesostris I. And then glass making is made in this time. For the first time in history, you see glass making, and then it is migrated to Mesopotamia. It's these times of great war that people utilize images and writings about Nubians to make it sound as if Egyptians never considered themselves similar or even the same with ancient Nubians because of times of war. And of course, you can find 100 examples of Egyptians writing the same thing about Asiatics. I've already shown you the tale of Senere, where the hero longs to leave Asia and go home to Egypt because he needs to die in Egypt, his homeland. Something interesting about Senusret III are these downward faced frowns. His eyes look sad, his face looks sad, and he's got this, sad face, sad frown on his face. And that might be due to stress, it might be due to bad mental health, or it might be due to the fact that he had to fight so many wars and he had to go in all the time. Some people just chop it down to a stylistic choice. But considering that ancient Egyptians would want to look strong and not defeated, it's weird that this is the face he chose to go with. In the time of Senusret III, we find Sobeku, who is a ancient Egyptian warrior, and this is one of those unique times when you get the insight of someone who actually fought in the war and what they think of the war and fighting enemies like Asia and Nubia. An offering which the king gives to Osiris, lord of Abydos, that he may give an invocation, offering of bread and beer, oxen and fowl, linen and clothing, incense and oil, every good and pure thing for the spirit of the member of the elite governor who says good things, repeated what was desired during the course of every day. Great district officials of the town, Ku Sobek, whose good name is Jah, born of Eta, of the district of Tefnut, professor of honor. His daughter, his beloved Gebu, born of his brother Dedu, born of Merit Eti S, overseer of the chamber Keru, born of Kaseti, the nurse of his heart, Renef Ankh, born of Dedi, Eubu, born of Merit Itis S, Nebet Lunet, born of Eubu. His Majesty went downstream to overthrow the Bedouins of Asia. His Majesty arrived at the district named Sekhmem. His Majesty was making a good start to return to the palace when the Sekhmem and the wretched retinue fell upon him. While I was serving at the rear of the army, then the soldier of the army went to fight with the Asiatics. I struck an Asiatic, and I had his weapon taken by two soldiers of the army without ceasing fighting. I was brave. I did not turn my back to the Asiatic, as Senroset lives for me. I have spoken the truth. Then he gave me a throw stick of electrum into my hand, a sheath and a dagger worked with electrum, together with handle. Member of the elite, governor, firm of sandal, easy of stride, loyal, one who adheres to the path, to the one who advances him, one to whom the Lord of the two lands gave his splendor, one whose position his love promoted, the great district official of the town, Jah, he says. I have made for myself this memorial, beautiful once its position had been efficiently established at the terrace of the great god, Lord of life, foremost in the district, mistress of offerings, and in the district, mistress of life. I may smell the incense that comes forth, and I may be provided with the divine sensing and the great district official Jah. He says, I was born in the 27 during the reign of the king of Upper and Lower Egypt, Nebkawara Amenemhet II, justified when the majesty of the king of Upper and Lower Egypt, Carrara Senusret III, justified wearing the double crown, arose upon the Horus throne of the living. His Majesty made me adopt the profession of the weapon trainer. Besides His Majesty, along with 6 men of the residence, one having become effective at his side, and his majesty caused that I appointed to be a follower of the ruler. 60 men have been given to me. His majesty went upstream to overthrow the desert Nubians. Then I struck a Nubian in the presence of my townsmen. Then I went downstream in attendance with 6 men residents. Then he appointed me inspector of the followers. 100 men have been given to me as a reward. After 39 years of strong rule, Senusret III died, and the next people who would take over would basically ruin a chain that was going pretty well for a long time.